The pick is in.
The New York Giants have made a selection in the 2024 NFL Draft. Alongside Locked On College Football host Spencer McLaughlin, I'm Tenitra Batiste, and we are joined by Patricia Traina of Locked On Giants to break down the Giants selecting Malik Nabers with the number 6 pick. So, Patricia, the Giants could be seen as another team that's in need of a franchise quarterback, but why do you think they ultimately chose not to go that route with some of the top QBs still available at 6?
Well, basically, I don't think they wanted to reach for a quarterback. You know, there have been reports that they wanted Drake May, and in order to get Drake May, they would have had to give up a small king's ransom to the New England Patriots, who had the 3rd overall pick and who ultimately took Drake May. And apparently the Giants didn't feel they were that much in love with him to give up that small pick. It wasn't like, several years ago when they gave up a king's ransom to get Eli Manning in a trade with the then San Diego Chargers. So they went with the next best option, and that was to get themselves a legitimate number 1 receiver who, regardless of who the quarterback is going to be, will help the offense become closer to what it envisions itself to be, which is more explosive. This is an offense that last year was ranked dead last in explosive plays. Malik Nabers can help remedy that.
Now, the Giants are seemingly committed to making it work with Daniel Jones, at least for this season. Now, is Nabers the guy that maybe can finally help Jones in this offense really get jump-started?
He certainly can. I mean, he's a guy who can play all 3 receiver positions. He's good with yards after the catch. He's got a lot of, a good blocker if you need him to run block, which is not what they're bringing him in for, but it's something he can do. He's going to, like I said, he's going to give them more explosiveness. And you throw him into a room that has already Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt. Now you had basically a good room become that much better. And I think that's going to help the Giants offense and, just to help whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, or to be named later.
To be named later, indeed. Now, we talked a lot about some of the strengths of Nabers and what he brings to the table, Patricia, but what do you feel is maybe an area of growth for him and an opportunity for him to grow in so that he can be better prepared to start potentially on day 1?
There's a couple of things. I would maybe look to see about whether he could do the entire route tree. They did a lot of vertical stuff down at LSU. So, can he do some of the comebacks routes and, some of the shorter stuff? So that would be one thing. And then another thing that I think is I don't want to say a black mark against his game, but something to keep an eye on is his catch radius. He's really good when he has to go to the high point. But if you ask him to go down low, that's where he may be, the catch radius has some question marks. So those are some of the things I'd like to see him maybe work on, maybe improve as we go along. But overall, it's a solid pick. I think he's going to be a week 1 starter for this team. And I do think he's going to make a difference on the offense.
For more on the Giants, subscribe to Locked On Giants on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. So, Spencer, the Giants went out and got Daniel Jones or whomever will be QB1 come week 1 in the 2024 season. They went out and got themselves potentially a wide receiver 1. What do you feel makes him a wide receiver 1 potentially week 1? And what do you feel is maybe that one area he needs to work on?
Well, it's his ability to take the top off of a defense. I think he's a guy who is a really complete package at the receiver position. I don't really have very many notes for him as it pertains to improving himself, other than can he find a new team? I just look. I'm just not a Daniel Jones guy. I really am not. This is shades of Garrett Wilson going to the Jets. Like it's not the receiver's not the problem, but is the guy actually going to be productive? Is he going to play in big games? No, because he's going to a place where Daniel Jones is your quarterback. Like on the Jets, Garrett Wilson, really talented guy. Or how about Jerry Jeudy to the Broncos? That's a great comp. Like you're not going to have the worst quarterback play in the league, but you're certainly not going to have good enough quarterback play to where you're going to be in the Super Bowl bubble next year, especially not with the contract they just gave Daniel Jones because they have no idea what they're doing. So I don't, I understand why they make the pick, because if you are all in on Daniel Jones, you want him to have this type of receiver option. I just don't think it matters because your quarterback is not good enough. I don't know what playoff game they could go into in which they would have an advantage of the quarterback position. And if you got great receivers, that's awesome. But if you got a guy who can't really get him the ball consistently, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, it negates it all. For continuing coverage of the 2024 NFL Draft, subscribe to Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.